Do you guys talk about other podcasters here?
Yeah,
Cool?
yeah.
Okay. I mean, I don't know all the rules, so I'm trying to be respectful. So, Logan Paul is on there.
Yeah.
Logan Paul's wrestling.
Yeah.
He just broke into wrestling. But even in the wrestling business, which I think they would probably say at the time was you had to like come up at the bottom and pay your dues, and it's hard to break into. I think they've come to the point where now it's like, look, if you can wrestle and if you can entertain, come on in. And I think podcasting, the evolution of podcasting from Bill Simmons, when Bill Simmons kind of opened up the genre, that's demonstrated the meritocracy in our country, where if people want to follow you, if you have thoughts that are original, if you're entertaining, whatever, people can find a conduit to come to you. And I think we're seeing that through America, and I think it only gets better from here.
I saw DeSantis say that you weren't, what do you say? You weren't part of any of the victories of like the conservative movement.
Yeah.
What was your like reaction to that?
My reaction honestly is that, he's still mad at me that I endorsed Donald Trump. And so that's his way of, kind of trying to lash out at me. I think the truth is the last 4 years when the governor was doing his job as a governor, I was doing my job in Congress, and my job in Congress was standing up to Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. And my job also in Congress was doing everything I could to help elect Donald Trump. So, the governor's entitled to his position and his opinion, but, I don't really think it's factual. I think that's more political. I think if you also look at when I was in the state house back the 4 years before I got to Congress, there was a lot of legislation I passed that became law in Florida that the governor has now used to continue his battles against DEI and woke in our institutions. I passed the first bill of its kind in Florida that allowed for parents and community members to be able to look at instructional materials in schools. So before you could fight woke in education, you had to actually know what was in the books. I passed that bill. Rick Scott was governor. He signed it into law. So I don't think it's accurate to say that somebody's not a part of all the fights and all the successes. I just think that's more personal, but it is what it is. That's politics.
He's going to have to back the wife, obviously.
I mean, look, it's your wife,
Yeah.
It's what it is. But, first we'll see what they do. Let's establish that. But secondly, after that, now it's about qualifications. And I think that if you examine anybody that looks at my voting record or what I've done in my time in the legislature or my time in Congress, there is nobody that has a record as conservative as mine. Those are the facts. Mm-hmm. And so I think, you take my record and what I've done, and then you propel that into being able to run the state of Florida. So Florida is going to continue to be a state based upon conservative principles, constitutional principles. And then we're going to be looking to the future about diversifying our economy, dealing with roads, fixing insurance, fixing the Everglades once and for all, finishing that work. And I commend Governor DeSantis for being committed to Everglades restoration. My job as the next governor is to take the ball, take the baton, and finish it and be done once and for all. And then continue to monitor our environment, help make sure that it's clean and vibrant for everybody that wants to come to Florida. And so, that's my view. I would joke with some of my Democrat colleagues when I was in the legislature, because when they would have disagreements, we would call it Dem on Dem crime. And what you find in politics a lot is some of the most intense fighting is intra-party fighting, when you have Democrats fighting Democrats or Republicans fighting Republicans. That's some of the most intense battles. But eventually it ends. And I think the best thing going forward is that we remember that once you go through that posture of having disagreements or primaries or fighting out who's going to, be the nominee, we got to be focused on conservative principles, focused on making sure that Republicans win, and then doing the job of executing on the things that we campaign on.
Why is that more intense, the inter-party disputes?
Because, it's kind of like How old are you? Remember
30.
Mad Max Thunderdome? Mad Max Beyond the Thunder? You know? Oh
No.
man, see, I just dated myself. Yeah, this is young Mel Gibson.
Okay.
Tina Turner.
Okay.
Anyway, for everybody out there, go watch Mad Max, the old Mad Max. It's not the new
I'm sure
one,
a lot of people
not the
watch
new
it. I'm probably getting
Gloriosa
roasted
ones,
for not watching
not Gloriosa, Furiosa. Oh, that was a good one though.
Okay.
But go back and watch the old Mad Max. It's interesting. In politics, at the end of the day, is competition, and some of the most competitive people on the planet are politicians, just as competitive as athletes.
I bet.
And so you want to win. And in politics, which is different from sports, there are rules in sports that everybody can see, and you kind of have to follow the rules. In politics, there are no rules. Yeah. There's no referee. You get at it, and it can be really intense. And there's the stuff people see on TV, there's the stuff that people see on social media, and then there's the stuff that people never see that's behind the scenes. And the stuff that's behind the scenes that's the stuff that's most vicious, because that's when people will stab you in the back who you think are your friends and they're not. That's when you realize that there aren't really a lot of, the old saying in politics is that if you want a friend, bring a dog, because there ain't really there's no friends. A lot of frenemies. Like, we're friendly, but we could potentially be enemies. And then if you find yourself in a heads up contest, then you're just enemies at that point, and you just get after it. I said the other day to co-people, politics has not left the Roman Colosseum. You know, like, we have cars and boats, and people can get on PJs and helicopters and all that kind of stuff. You got Elon and Bezos shooting rockets off all over the place. But at the end of the day, politics at its core has not left the Roman Colosseum. And at the end of the day, you got to win the crowd.
Yeah.
And that's still the case today.
Was there a time when you first realized that? Like, is there a story, probably a lot of stories you can't tell, but was there a time when you realized holy shit, that person just snaked me? Said something to your face.
I'll tell this one.
Because everyone wonders, what is politics actually like?
So when I first ran for Congress, this was back in 2012. And I ran because people in the Tea Party movement asked me. I'll never forget it. I was at a restaurant called Vergina's in Naples, Florida. And I was a volunteer on Herman Cain's presidential campaign. And Herman Cain had just dropped out. God rest his soul. God rest Herman Cain's soul. The head of the local Herman Cain campaign came up to me. She's like 5'2". And she walks up to me and she points her finger at me and she goes, "You need to run for Congress." And I go, "I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Like, I'm just a regular guy. I don't even know how you do that." She's like, "You need to run. You'll be great. People like you. You know issues, da da da." And I'm like, "I'm just a regular guy." And she's like, "We'll all help you. First rule in politics. Everybody that says they're going to help you, they don't always help you." But that's not the big stuff. There was a guy I used to do a radio I did a show with him off and on. I would come in and do a hit or two and leave. And I heard through the grapevine that he was telling people that I would have to be crazy if I thought that a black guy could win Collier County, which is Naples, where I live. And I heard it. It came back to me. People say a lot thinking it doesn't come back to me. It comes back to me. I just file it and keep moving, right? So he's like, "Man, I think he'd have to be crazy if he thinks a black man will win Collier County." So I just put that in as motivation. And I said, "Oh, yeah? Okay, well, watch this." We ended up winning Collier County in that election. Won it by 5 points, but I lost Lee County, which is the larger county. So I didn't win the congressional seat. During that process, we would have debates. And when I really learned that politics is really about the arena, at its core, it's still about the arena. It's still about the Coliseum. Because when you get into these debates or these conversations or these arguments, and you're having to compare yourself against the people next to you. And I would go into these debates and nobody would know who I was. And then we would leave the debates and everybody's like, "Man, who the hell is this guy? Like, that's the guy I like." And I think the other people I was running against, after a while, they started having these conversations behind the scenes, and they would say, you know what? We got to stop debating. And I would start to hear about it. And I'm like, well, how come that person pulled out? How come this person pulled out? And what got back to me after was, you kept winning debates. And so the best way to stop your momentum is to not debate you. That's just a snippet of what happens behind the scenes. Nobody knows that out front. People will just be like, oh, that person dropped out, blah, blah, blah. No. Typically what happens is when people start begging off, that's because they know they can't stand toe to toe. So they have to go find another way to win. And so you'll get like the anonymous emails, anonymous text messages. People want to bring up your past and talk about all this other stuff. I mean, look, I got a past. I don't care. I talk about my past openly because I'm not perfect. I made a lot of mistakes. But that's the stuff that happens behind the scenes. And you quickly realize it's not about your ability to be successful and to help people and to be good at the job and to help the state or help the country, or in my vantage point, have conservatism be like the standard bearer for how governments operate. It's about, you want to be on top. And so you will cut another man's legs out so you're the tallest person in the room. That's what happens behind the scenes in politics. And I think that's why people get disgusted with it and really don't want to be a part of it. But, you know, Plato famously said, those that are ignorant of their politics are going to be ruled by their inferiors. And so I think it's important for people to be engaged in politics, or you'll be ruled by your inferiors.
What do you think about the left right now, what they're trying to do with all the illegals that Trump's trying to send out? And they're kind of like trying to put a stop to it and stuff, right? What was the whole situation with the immigrant that was like wrongfully sent out? And what's
they're just pissed, man. They're pissed about the fact that we're undoing everything that Joe Biden did. You got to understand, the Democrats were all for open borders and letting tens of millions of people into the country. They were all for it. They weren't complaining about when cities were overwhelmed with illegal immigration. The only time they complained is when Governor DeSantis, rightly, by the way, put a bunch of illegals on a plane and sent them to Martha's Vineyard. And when he did that, then they got pissed because they're like, how dare you send these illegals to our private enclave where we get to, you know, drink champagne and wear, you know, linen shorts and laugh at the plebes in the rest of the country. They will only get pissed when Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, was sending busloads to New York City and to Chicago. Then they got pissed because they had to be confronted with their own policy. They want open borders. They don't want to deport people. So with this Kilmar Garcia, when you have a dummy like Chris Van Hollen fly down to El Salvador to go sit there and have lunch with the dude, I mean, that proves he cares more about illegal immigrants than he does the American people.
Why him? Is he like a U.S. citizen or something? Or
no, he's not. He's an illegal alien. He's been in the country illegal for a long time. He had a legal deportation order against him. But what happened was, I think it was the ACLU or one of these outside groups sued on the flights to go to El Salvador. And they sued saying that those illegal aliens didn't have their due process in the country. But the president used the, I think it's the Aliens Act of 1798 that he used and said, look, Tren de Aragua is a national security threat and I'm moving them out of the country. The president has the power to do that. Judge Boasberg disagreed. The plane was already in the air. The judge is saying, turn the plane around. And the president's like, you're a judge. You don't run foreign policy. The plane's in the air and it's going. Right? You have Democrats who will say, no, bring those illegal gang members back to the United States. That's crazy. But that's their position because they truly believe in illegal immigration. They don't want the rules. They want the doors to be open.
Why? Like, are they just trying to stop President Trump from having success? So like the
part that,
Democrat
yeah.
Party like levels up, or like why are they? Do they actually believe that they're doing
Yeah.
a good thing?
I think one, there's some of them that actually believe they're doing a good thing. Two, you have those who believe that they have to stop Donald Trump at all costs. So if he says the light is green, the light is red. If he says the sky is blue, the sky is black.
Which that at least makes sense to me, their motive. But if they're just, you know, you could see why they're doing that. But
Well,
if they actually believe it, it's fucking crazy.
there's a third piece. And I think one of the things for people who really want to like kind of learn some of the details on this stuff, there was a great video series by Milton Friedman called Free to Choose. It's on YouTube. People can go and watch it. He wrote a book called Free to Choose. Milton Friedman won the Nobel Prize for economics. He's a libertarian, Austrian economics school. He would have like a public access show called Free to Choose. And you would have conservative, libertarian, and liberal scholars debate public policy. And this is like in the 70s. It's really good stuff for people who want to just kind of learn it without modern politics messing it up. There was a lady on there called Frances Fox Piven. She was a longtime liberal professor. And one of her theories, along with a guy named Cloward, I think is his name, was about if you want to fundamentally change American government, you must first overwhelm the systems. There are Democrats who believe in this, where they say it is better to overwhelm the systems. So then you'd have to recreate the federal government's operations in the image that they want. I think that's crazy and haphazard, but you do have Democrats who believe that. And so I think it's a combination of the three. You have people who are just thinking, if you're in a third world, it's a tough life, and come to America, it's better. And they might think that out of the goodness of their heart, but it's not orderly. I remember I was in high school, I was talking about illegal immigration. And I asked these high school students, I said, whose mom could cook? And this one girl threw her hand up. And I was like, so your mom could cook? She goes, yeah. I go, can she cook good? Yes, great. Can I come for dinner? She goes, of course. I go, can I come back the second night if it's good? She's like, of course, yeah. Our home's always open. I said, if it's good the second night, can I sleep on the couch? She goes, well, wait a minute, hold up. And I go, wait, why hold up? Like, don't stop. Why hold up? And she goes, because this is our house. You just can't come and stay. And I said, stop right there. I said, if those are the rules for your house, how come they can't be the rules for a nation? And at the end of the day, when it comes to illegal immigration, that's the principle we have to follow. It's okay to have people come over to your house, but we all know the rules. You don't get to stay, especially if you start breaking stuff.
I got to show you this prank. On our other channel, we do a lot of like pranks. We did a bunch leading up to the election. I got to show you this. It's exactly what you're talking about.
So you would do anything for like all the illegals
I think
and
we
stuff?
have to be fair.
Guys, this is great. I think we found a new home for you guys.
So we made her sign a petition first saying, do you support illegal immigration? And this is in Beverly Hills.
They're gonna move into your house.
They are
Yeah. What do you mean? You just said you wanted to support everyone though.
not. Okay, that I don't.
No, they're
Guys,
not
we got
violent.
a
They're
new
not
house.
violent. They're good. They're
Oh no,
like
hop it! Like just like you guys did before.
Thank you very much.
Can they stay for dinner?
That's good.
Wait.
Sorry.
Well, we have your signature. You guys got to drive back down south.
back to Home Depot.
Oh my God. Hey, that's good though.
People love that
That's
one.
good though.
Yeah.
But it's true because I mean, people have these ideas. The way I like to think about it is a lot of people think about policy. They think about policy, but they don't think through policy. And if you think about policy, you say, oh yeah, we want people to get a better life. America is bountiful. But when you think through policy, how are they getting here? Are they being abused? Where are they going to sleep? How are they going to eat? How do they assimilate into American culture? Do you even allow them to assimilate into American culture? That's thinking through the policy issue. And I think you have a lot of Democrats who think about illegal immigration or think about open borders or however they want to phrase it. They think about sanctuary cities. They think it sounds good, but they don't think through the actual steps of what it does to their cities, or in that video, to that lady's house. Because she's quick to sign a petition as long as you ain't sleeping on her
Exactly.
couch.
It's not, yeah. When it doesn't affect them, they don't care.
That's exactly right.
What was your favorite interaction with President Trump that you can speak on?
Oh man, I'm trying to make sure I get one that I can actually share.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a ton that you can't talk about.
There's some I'm not going to share, but I'll share this one. So when we were leaving, it was during the campaign. We were leaving, I think it was North Carolina. We were flying to Wisconsin. And this was right after Joe Biden went on that webcam calling people garbage, calling Trump supporters garbage. And we're on the plane and the staff goes, "Hey, sir, we got a garbage truck that's going to be out on the tarmac when we land." And I go, "Well, is the president going to drive it?" And the guys go, "Well, yeah, he wants to drive it." I'm like, "Of course, because that's the right thing. You should want to drive it." And I guess Secret Service wasn't for that, so that didn't happen. So we all deplane like we do when we're with them. We deplane first, and then he's like is doing his thing, and he comes out. But he doesn't come out like he normally does, where he has his MAGA hat and he has his jacket, and everything is steamed out and looking good, and the tie is crisp. He comes out in the sanitation jacket, and it real time. This is the funniest thing. I was like, man, this man has like the greatest comedic timing in politics. Like there's nothing even like this. He comes out in a sanitation vest, and we're just like, we're laughing because this is so good, and it's just gonna get the Dems, and this thing is gonna go viral in a heartbeat, and it did. And he comes down the steps, and he's talking to the press. He's in the sanitation jacket and the vest, and then the truck is pulled up. And I'm like, is he going to get in the truck? Because I didn't know what he was going to do. And I'm like, is he going to get in the truck? And the first step of the truck was probably, like 18 inches off the ground, something like that. It was a pretty high step. Yeah. And so I'm talking to a guy standing next to me, and I go, "Hey, can he get in the, I know Trump is the man, but can he take that step?"
Yeah.
It's a high step.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, well, shit, he better." And everybody's like, I'm looking at it like, "You got this, sir. Like, you got it." But he made it. He pulled up and did the whole thing. That thing was just funny. So we get to the arena, and we're in the back, and we're talking to Brett Favre and Brett's wife and Brett's grandson, and he's still in the vest. So I'm going to the stage to do my thing, and I just tell the team, I'm like, he's got to give that speech in the vest. Like, do not take the vest off. You gotta do the speech in the vest. That'll be everything. And to his credit, he was just like, "All right, I'm gonna own it." And he just goes out there and does it. And it's stuff like that when you're on the road with him that I think people started to see more. You started to see Donald Trump, not just the caricature or the imagery of Donald J. Trump. People started to see Donald Trump for who he is. And I think the funny thing is, like, he's sarcastic as hell, funny, wants everybody to kind of enjoy themselves and have a good time. That's really who he is at his core. But then also, if you mess with him, he's going to drop an anvil on you. He's not going to hesitate.
Yeah, that was a funny moment. The McDonald's one was big too.
I wasn't at the McDonald's one, which is why I can't recall.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
What do you think there was a turning point in the campaign? Because I feel like he just outworked Kamala.
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing he did every podcast possible, every big podcast. And then in addition, he'd do 2 speaking events a day. He's doing 3-4 things a day.
Yeah, he outworked her.
Did you think there was a point in the campaign where it was this is over?
In my mind, the campaign was really over when Biden debated in Atlanta. I was there that night, and that
early
was wow.
But when Kamala got announced, when she first got announced, and after that first debate, a lot of people said Kamala won.
No, but I mean, when she came in, she was riding this fanfare of she's coming in to save the Democrat Party. I think I said once that the way they treated Kamala Harris was as if she was a Hollywood starlet for a movie promotion. And every scene in the trailer on YouTube or on TV looks great, and she looks great, and oh my gosh, the script looks amazing, and look at the action, and she took the red carpet, and everybody wants to take a picture of her, and everything is exciting. And then you go watch the movie, and the movie sucks. that was the Kamala Harris campaign.
Yeah.
And so I think with President Trump, when she first came in, we saw the rise in the polls, but what we all realized pretty quickly that there was no substance there. It was just a rise in the polls because there was something different to look at, and she was not Joe Biden. But the problem for her is she's Kamala Harris, and she had nothing to say. And the little that she said was terrible. And so I think the decision the campaign made was just to be everywhere and constantly work was the right decision, because at the end of the day, it looked like, they were lazy. I think they were more entitled and lazy. And I think the truth is they couldn't really put her out there.
Mm-hmm.
We've been sitting here, 35, 40 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris couldn't sit here with you for 35, 40 minutes.
No.
She could not do this.
And it was evident that she couldn't.
And so I think in America today, especially when President Trump and JD started doing podcasts and going out there and sharing ideas and just having real conversation, it demonstrated that, oh man, these are two real people that just want to do the right thing by the country.
JD's a beast too.
And then you can't find her. Like, she's nowhere to be seen. Or she goes on The View and then she says, like, the kill shot to me was, they're like, what would you do different? And she goes, nothing that comes to mind. Well, at that point, it's like, girl, you dead. like you're dead. This is over. And I think the American people saw that. But you had to go through that phase. At its core, they just outworked her.
Yeah.
And she was lazy and entitled, and they outworked her. And that was it.
Who do you think becomes the next nominee for the Republican Party? I know Trump says he wants to do a third term. Is there any validity to that or not?
I don't know, man.
That would be all hell breaks loose.
Seriously,
people will lose it if he tries to do that.
On a serious note, I think that towards the end of the campaign in 24, I think you can kind of feel the nostalgia, because really think about it. This was Ben Shapiro said, like, this was like season 10 of Trump is kind of how he phrased it. And like, I think everybody could feel the nostalgia. Like, this was the last ride. You know what I mean? Like, this was the outro in terms of campaigns. And I think that's where it's going to end up. Who comes next? JD, listen, man,
so many people, right?
But what I will say is JD's the leader in the clubhouse. I guess I would say we're kind of in the first round right now at the Masters. He's got the lead.
Mm-hmm. And JD's a beast. He's good going
Very
at
smart.
the media. I love watching him go against the media.
Oh yeah. Oh no, JD is good.
Yeah,
really good, incredibly smart. He's been through it in life. I think that's what makes him a part very relatable, because JD's life is not some silver spooned kid who was positioned to become the next wave of political leadership. Mm-hmm. A lot of guys, I think, in the inner city, like I'm from the inner city, I think a lot of guys in the inner city, some of them, if they take a chance to look at JD, what they realize is JD, although he grew up, as a hillbilly, JD didn't really grow up much different than a lot of us. Mm-hmm. Drugs in your community, drugs in your house. JD's family life was much tougher than my family life. Like, I didn't grow up with my dad, but my mom, she was just a grinder, hard worker, held me accountable. JD had to grow up with a situation with his mom that would have been devastating or destroying to just about anybody. He was able to persevere and overcome that and still love his family and still try to do good things. I mean, that's a success story, man. And I think that's why, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for anybody that wants to take him on.
Do you ever see yourself running for president one day?
Man,
after you finish your job as governor? Honestly,
I can't see that far. Right now, I'm focused on doing this. And to be honest with you, when I first ran and got elected, this was 2016. So I was I was probably 37. And at the time, I looked at it like, man, okay, I'll probably be doing this for maybe 8 years, 10 years tops. And then that's it. And then when I got to Congress, I told my district, you'll get a max 10 years out of me. So 5 terms, you'll get 10 years max out of me. And then I'm leaving. And now you're running for governor. We're successful. I win. I get sworn in 2 years as the state's next governor. I'll be 48. And by the time you leave, I'll be 56. Man, I might just want to just go back to normal life and just enjoy life. I don't think you can plan politics. Just like I don't really think you can plan life. I think you do the best thing you do. You work hard day in, day out. You stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And then if God opens those doors and you have the ability to walk through it, then you make that decision to walk through. Seriously. So that is a serious, non-political, non-BS answer. I have no idea. Nobody knows.
Well, yeah, we don't want to take too much of your time. I know you guys got to roll, but you got our full support. I think we got to get you back on closer to the election. We'll catch up.
Man, of course.
2026, November.
My question is, Happy Dad, is this good?
It's good.
I'm not a hard seltzer dude, so I don't even know if this is good.
I mean, I think it's the best hard seltzer for sure. Are you
Really?
you drink it all or no?
I'm
Casually?
a tequila guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, little shot at tequila, chase it with a Happy Dad. Can't go wrong.
See, now you causing problems.
We'll send.
There you go. Now you causing
not before a
problems.
speech. Not before a speech. No, we appreciate you, bro.
Hey,
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Thank you.